3 teams are involved: Rutgers, Ohio State, Purdue. Sources said Purdue, which faced Michigan in 2022, received offensive signals from Ohio State and defensive signals from Rutgers, according to sources. Michigan beat Rutgers 52-7, beat Ohio State last year in a game that clinched the East Division. Oh, this story just keeps getting better and better.
Well, this is exactly what we said was going to happen, though. You go after one, and it's just a snowball. And I was like, and that's why I said the NCAA does not want this.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Because now, eventually it's going to go to another conference, and it's like, oh, Nick Saban was doing this too? And then Paul Feinbaum's got to take his bald fat ass and fucking...
satellite ears.
Yeah.
Big ears having whiny...
876.
Yeah, everyone does this. That was from the get-go. Everyone does this. No one in the NFL cares. NFL would still take Harbaugh, Daniel Jeremiah says, because the NFL does it all the time. High school does it, you said, right, Robert?
Yeah.
Coaches do it in high school at big-time programs. Michigan, if you're coming after us, we're taking the whole thing with us. That is the premise.
Well, you saw they brought in Ric Flair this week in order to become the villain motif.
Oh, yep. They're going to become a villain.
Once in their lives, we can take from Ohio State and actually do something. I thought that was brilliant.
Limousine riding.
Woo! Anybody? No? Just me?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Well,
they're either going to get killed this weekend or just do some killing against
forget, is this game at home?
No, it's away.
It's not. It's in Happy Valley. This is the biggest big noon kickoff they've had this year, I think.
From multiple storylines, Franklin is like, how come we brought in 3 tight ends and they didn't do anything about that? They stayed in cover 2. Okay, Franklin, well, how about you just run the football if they are in cover 2? You ever think about that? No, because you a little bitch.
Wow, James Franklin being a little bitch. Who would have thought Micaiah plays with himself?
You gonna start or what?
Couldn't have timed that any better myself.
Powered by Riverside.
Sometimes it's hard to run a podcast when you got Captain Boring by your side. It's the 4th&1 podcast, live from Lancaster, Lidditz, and Williams, whatever, Pennsylvania. It's your boy Admiral, you like that, a.k.a. self-nickname, a.k.a. Sitting next to, as always, Captain Boring, a.k.a.
Why you gotta come after me all the time? Why you gotta come after me?
Because it's fun and it's easy, like your mom, okay?
We both have the same mom.
As always, joined by our favorite X-ray technician. It is not CFB Insider, except now it's time for not CFP Insider because it is now the college football playoff season. It's our favorite time of the year. It's dark for no reason. We voted for people we don't know. And now it's time to drink water and continue to crap on the rest of the NCAA as the corrupt organization that they are. Gentlemen, hello. Did you have good days off?
I mean, I would have had better days off if Robert would have advanced our Madden League so I can get to selling. What are we doing?
I mean, I had a good day. I don't know what you want me to do. I get one day off that doesn't involve me. Actually, it wasn't even a day off. I still get phone calls on how to do things. So,
well, I had to work this morning, so...
Hey, I did buy some barbecue sauce, though, so
that's what's up. That's
that sauce.
Let's go.
That sauce looks delicious. Well, gentlemen, obviously you heard the news developing story about Michigan. Things keep getting better. Where are we standing? Remind me, because it's hard to keep track of everything in my memory and make sure that electronics work for adults. Where are we at with the story? Robert, actually, I'm going to give you, since you're better at tracking this sort of stuff. What happened between now and last week?
It kind of nothing, but then like kind of something in the same sense. Big Ten coaches decided to be crybabies and have a phone conversation with the Big Ten commish. The Big Ten commish is mulling whether he's going to do something or not. He told Michigan they might do something, they might not, which is kind of weird. I don't know how you could do something but not do something. Ono from Michigan, the president, already told the Big Ten, listen, you come after us, lawsuit in the mail, which I think is going to be the biggest deterrent right now. Other than that, like, it's just kind of random stuff just keeps popping up, whether it's stuff that works, stuff that doesn't work, and then what dropped today. But Kai, do you have anything else?
That Michigan's just taking the whole ship down. If you're gonna put a hole in the side and make them sink, they're just gonna release all the lifeboats and take all the passengers with them. That's what they're gonna do.
That's very dark.
Wouldn't they not let anyone on the lifeboats? They would just take the whole ship?
That's what I'm saying.
He'd release the lifeboats so no one could use them.
I thought you were saying, everyone can get on the lifeboats and you guys get... Okay.
No. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
In this scenario, it's mass genocide that I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yikes.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a new one.
okay. Don't think it's genocide, but we'll go there. Mass murder, maybe, but...
Well, what's
Not
genocide? What's the difference between mass murder
genocide
and genocide?
is a specific group of people, i.e., Jews
The NCAA.
or
What, the NCAA?
Azerbaijanis.
The college football teams.
college white girls and their pumpkin spice lattes. Yeah, that would be mass genocide. Yeah.
Okay, they're taking the NCAA with them.
Which, to be fair, I love me a good PSL.
They're taking Ohio State, Rutgers, Purdue.
PSA on the week. We got some good games coming at you. We'll get to them later, as we always do. Of course, this is the 4th&1 podcast, brought to you by you guys, the fans. Anchor.fm/4th&1. Thank you, Mother, for all the money that you give us every month. But if you would like to support us, just like our mother does, you can go there and support us. Of course, a good old like and subscribe. That's right, I am doing that now. This is the podcast that wishes it was a radio show deep down on the inside, where I like things to be. Anyway, Micaiah, you want to hit us with your top 10?
Yeah, we can do that right off the bat. I didn't realize we were doing that right off the bat, so it's not pulled up. So I'm just gonna talk my way through what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Clicking on it.
My picks
it's open.
decided
it's open.
Didn't want to load. So, for any of you wanting to keep track, Northern Illinois and Ball State are $4 tickets. If you're in DeKalb, Illinois, you can go ahead and watch that absolute train wreck of a football game. Micaiah, hit us with it.
Number one, I have Georgia coming off a big win over Missouri. Ohio State just still doesn't look right to me offensively, specifically in their pass game. Michigan, number two, I understand they haven't played anyone yet, but they've looked like you can play no one and look bad or average or mediocre at times, and they've just looked dominant the whole way through. Oregon is probably could be a number one. Florida State fell asleep again first half against Pittsburgh. Then you have Ohio State. Washington doesn't have a defense now. However, they have a running game. Texas, just no Quinn Ewers, keeps messing around and turning the ball over. Alabama, you mess around with them, you're going to find out. Ole Miss is fake, but they're 7-1, 8-1, 9-1, whatever they are. And then Penn State is last, just because they did put up 63 points on Maryland, so that is sort of it, or 51, whatever it was.
Yikes, that's a lot of points.
And no matter what Robert says, that is a good win.
Robert, you don't think that Penn State game was a good win?
I mean, still Maryland.
You say that with everybody. It's just this. It's just
because
this.
When you look at Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan, all of their wins are garbage, except for Ohio State, who has beaten Penn State, who's still ranked, and they beat Notre Dame,
it's garbage,
who shouldn't even be ranked. Other than that, like, they're just all garbage wins. Should Michigan have put 63 on Purdue? Yeah, probably, but they put 41. My bad. Penn State should put 51 on Maryland. The only thing they do is run the ball with Talia. Their defense isn't that good. It's Maryland. There's a reason their tickets are so cheap. It's Maryland.
Their tickets weren't cheap like 4 weeks ago when they were 5-0.
They were ranked because Maryland didn't play anybody.
Listen, you're the fourth best team in the East. It's a good win no matter.
The fourth best team in the East doesn't even matter. Because there is
Robert,
no
you don't have a
fourth best
soul.
team.
You barely matter.
That's what I'm saying. Penn State, Ohio, you could literally put everyone else in
Maryland
the other side.
the ginger of the Big Ten?
No, that is Northwestern because you can't even see those guys.
No, they're the John Cena's of the Big Ten.
But other than, no one else in this division matters except for Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan.
And then no one in the West matters.
No one in the West has mattered since
do they
Melvin
even play
Gordon
offense?
III.
It's awful over there. I saw this stat, so you guys know. You guys know Brian Ferentz got fired, is getting fired at the end of the season. I don't know if he's still on the team or not.
Didn't see that alert come through.
This was 2 weeks ago. I didn't share it to the chat because I figured that y'all could think for
Go
yourselves
figure.
and listen and use your brain and your own eyes. My bad.
You think I Google things, Micaiah?
Oh my! You Google everything.
Yeah.
We'll be driving. Did you know that this bridge was built in 1853 and redone 3 times? And if a car falls off the side of it, it'll bounce back up because of trampoline technology that was discovered and brought back from the aliens. Get out of here!
That is
You Google things
legitimately-
all the time.
Yeah, but I Googled, listen, on Saturday, I looked up, I thought he had already been fired. I thought they replaced him.
Yeah, so I don't know. But anyway, you know how his is the road, he has to average 24, 25 points a game, something like that this year?
I'm remembering that now, yes.
No team in the Big Ten West would meet that. No team in the Big Ten West is averaging 25 points a game this year. That's how bad they are offensively on that side of the conference. What are they going to do when Oregon and Washington and USC and Lincoln Riley, they all come in here?
They're going to go on Michigan's side because that's what the Big Ten does. They put the good teams all in one.
No one wants to be on Michigan's side right now, so all of a sudden, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA show up and everyone's on Michigan's side now? Oh, it's okay. Stealing signs is fine.
Aren't they going to the... Aren't they going to a non...
I know what you're not talking about. I'm just bringing it up.
I was
no. I'm just being salty right now. that now they want to be on our side.
Did they
Offense enters the conference, and all of a sudden it's, no, Michigan, give us what you got because we don't know how to stop it.
Did they say if they're doing away with the divisions?
They are. Yeah, they are next year. Yeah.
Why is Navy in my bet slip all of a sudden? Anyway.
The American is hot right now. Oh, my goodness.
Explain.
We got 3 teams at 5-0 and 1 team at 4-1. Tulane, UTSA, and SMU are the undefeateds, and then right behind that is some team I don't know.
Why are you giving me
remember.
air quotes, Robert, about the American? What do you hate about the American?
Memphis is the
It's not that I
team.
hate them. It's just
you hate
to
America.
say they're hot.
He hates America, ladies and gentlemen.
You're still not going to tune into one of their games.
No, absolutely. Well, except on Black Friday. Black Friday. Yeah, okay. All right. Black Friday.
Is that the Tulane UTSA game? Who did Tulane play a couple weeks ago? They played a really good game a couple weeks ago that I would have tuned in for if I had been able to watch TV.
Old Miss, week 2. That was 8 weeks ago, bro.
No. They played an American. They played a conference game. Don't even at me with that. Was it the North Texas game that I would have tuned in for?
Yeah, because you thought that was going to be really high scoring.
Tulane!
And it was a good game.
Tulane
Yes,
UTSA is Black Friday. Black Friday football, best football day of the year. Do not at me, ladies and gentlemen.
You can't at me right now, Robert, because the North Texas UTSA game was a winning touchdown, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a 35-28 win for for the green wave of
I feel
Tulane.
like you bet the under for that too, or you bet the over.
I lost that
and it
bet
finished
for
under.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is the one that
It
missed
finished
by
like a point short. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
SMU
checks
also
out.
just gets like a bye into the conference championship essentially.
Oh, because what? They played week 0? Or they played
Well,
early
no.
on?
Because Tulane and UTSA have to play each other at the last game. SMU doesn't play either of them.
Oh. Okay.
So it's
yeah,
like-
so that's basically the Tulane UTSA game really kind of decides.
Who goes to the American Championship?
Yeah.
Like
Against,
it did last year.
Yeah.
that was Tulane Cincinnati, I thought.
No,
Oh,
maybe
you
the
mean
American.
my Big 12 champs.
Yeah, your Big 12 champs that have
Yeah.
fallen off the face of the cliff. Yeah.
An absolute dumpster fire of a season for the Big 12. Okay, let's actually talk about that for 2 seconds since we're shooting off the hip here anyway. Of all the conferences that realigned, who's having the most successful? The most success. So we have the Big 12, we have the Conference USA, and we have the obviously the American and the Fun Belt. So those 4, who's at your top? If you had to rank those from best to worst, really, who's the best and who's the worst? We care about the small children here.
Well, okay, so the newcomers in the Big 12 are dead last, second to last, fourth from last, and fifth from last. So that's what's going on in the Big 12 with all the newcomers. Cincinnati's at the bottom, UCF, BYU's above Baylor, and then Houston's above BYU. Conference USA, Liberty and Jacksonville State are at the top. Those are 2 newcomers. I
Those
don't
are
know if
2
New
newcomers.
Mexico State was already in there or not.
They were not.
Okay.
They were independent last year.
Okay, well then there we go. So it might
forget
Here's
become
my
Sam
Google random Google knowledge for you coming out.
Sunbelt. You got James Madison, but they're kind of carrying everything. Marshall was a newcomer, but they're at the bottom. I think Southern Miss, they're at the bottom. Texas State, I think, is a newcomer. They're second. They also had the second most transfers behind Colorado.
The more you know.
And then in the American, it's really UTSA. I'm going to say Conference USA. Conference USA is currently winning alignment with quality teams that are, what's
Coming
the
in
word?
and showing up.
Yeah, coming in and showing up to a new conference. Absolutely.
Producing is the word you're looking for, maybe?
That,
Except
thank
for
you,
Sam
yes.
Houston, yeah.
Except for Sam Houston, yeah.
Well, no one likes Sam Houston anyway.
Where's Army going next year?
The
American.
American.
They're joining Navy in the
Navy,
American.
yep.
That conference is getting pretty big.
Yeah, no, I mean they're best. They're definitely the best Group of 5
15?
conference. Are they not though? I mean, the 1 year conference wise, they were better than the Big 12. I mean, they're better than Big 12 in terms of overall conference record this year.
And that's what I'm wondering is I think the Big 12 has both succeeded and failed, but the only reason it succeeded is because Oklahoma's overperforming what we were expecting them to, right?
Oklahoma State but yes.
No,
So essentially,
Oklahoma.
just the Big 12 is just going to get a lot worse than what they are now.
Correct. Oklahoma State is
Well,
underperforming in my opinion.
Utah's
Just because
gonna
they
come
won,
in.
just because they won Bedlam does not mean.
I think Utah, the addition of Utah and the uptick of Arizona this season, Rob, since you just you've been riding that Arizona train with your picks recently, I just think that's a big kind of get for them. Simeon, we had Oklahoma going 7-5. Yes, they are overproducing. We also had Oklahoma overperforming. And Oklahoma State, we had 8-4, so they're definitely overperforming right now. So is West Virginia.
Doesn't Oklahoma State have 3 losses?
No, they have 2. And right now, they're in the driver's seat to face Texas in the Big 12 title game. That's what happened with Bedlam.
Well, let's talk about it then. And by let's, I mean you two talk about Bedlam because I watched exactly none of it.
It was kind of what I thought it would be. Oklahoma State went in with Ollie Gordon, nation's leading rusher, and they ran him 30-plus times. And then Oklahoma just kind of kept making dumb mistake after dumb mistake. They got a little too aggressive kind of in the second half, went for it a few times, mostly because their field goal kicker, they had no faith in him. Ollie Gordon finished 33 carries, 137, 2 touchdowns. It was statistically an even game, 492 total yards, 480. This, however, Oklahoma had the 3 turnovers, 2 fumbles lost, and an interception thrown. This is just a huge win from Mike Gundy, though. Last time you're playing Bedlam, on paper at least, you have the bragging rights. Anytime someone brings up Oklahoma's in the SEC, Oklahoma's doing this. Yeah,
because it's garbage.
We got him last time we played. It is huge
me.
for that program.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
That's Mike Gundy.
Yeah, in this scenario it is. And if everyone
Can we
remembers...
refer to him now only as the gunship from now on in
Sure.
this?
So the
Okay.
gunship and his crew got, if you remember, got smacked around by South Alabama earlier this season.
Yeah.
And
Jaguars of the USA.
They were 1-2, and then they upset Kansas State on a Thursday or Friday night, Robert, right?
Yeah.
And they've kind of just been rolling with Ollie Gordon. It's not pretty. They're not excellent, but they're just good enough. And Alan Bowman, transfer from Michigan, poised, cool, calm, collected, had a big game on Saturday as well. 28 of 42 for 334 and no turnovers.
One could say they play Big Ten football.
Yeah, actually, kinda. They play that Big Ten football.
Big Ten football. Robert, did you watch any of that game at all?
Yeah, I was tuning in and out of it. Oklahoma just never looked comfortable, and Oklahoma State just rode the momentum wave that entire game.
Controlled
that's
the line of scrimmage. I mean, they had 37 minutes of possession to 22.
Absolutely fabulous take, Robert. Analysis
You like that?
on top as always. I am just, really wanting more from you
But
right
I'm
now.
the boring one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's the joke I'm making, Micaiah. Thank you for keeping up. Hence why
I'm
you're
just
the
saying,
boring
we
one.
switched the game plan here right before the take. I don't know what you want me to do here, my man.
You have Army Air Force as a recap game on your list. WTF? Why would I want to know? Why would I want to know what Army Air Force did? They failed to produce anything that I wanted, which was Air Force to be 9-0 right now. And because now Air Force is in the worst Division I FBS conference, a.k.a. the Mountain West, they now just fall off the face of the earth. I stopped caring about them.
Hey, America still won, though. So, America is what are we now?
That
10-0,
college football
9-0?
that against Germany we're 2-0.
Heyo!
I did like the graphic on College Game Day.
Oh, yes, it was Air
During
Force
the
or the
picks.
American flag. Yeah.
Or the American flag, and they're like, wait a minute here. They got it there. So we're going to skip over your decision to talk about, which probably wasn't going to be interesting anyway on here, Army and Air Force. And because of that, Micaiah, why would we want to talk about Ohio State Rutgers?
Oh, because I thought that we were both picking 5 games. Okay.
Well, we're not going to talk about that. We will talk about how much
Air
Notre
Force also
Dame.
had 6 turnovers in the game. I'm just letting you know that.
Yikes.
That's why
So
they
that's
lost.
your mulligan there. See, now
Yeah.
we would have heard that, but we decided to skip the game. We decided to
Normally-
skip it. I'm
Decided to
just
skip
saying.
the game, and we
Yeah.
don't want to talk about
Normally-
Ohio State and
Yeah.
Rutgers.
Normally-
It's
I
fine.
see how you
Normally
like
Air
Ohio
Force
State
is the
more
one-
than America. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
normally Ohio.
Title
normally,
of the pod.
normally Air Force is giving people things instead of the Army things, dropping bombs.
They gave
anyway,
Japan
um,
2 things. That was
They
uncalled
gave
for.
Japan 2 turnovers, if you know what I'm saying.
I apologize, Japan. My bad.
They don't care. They're fine. They have Hello Kitty and cool cars.
Relive it. Relive it.
Clemson, Notre Dame. How disappointing of all the teams, of all of them in college football, in Division I college football, how disappointing has Notre Dame been? And how relieved is Dabo Swinney to have his job?
Well, just real quick, is Notre Dame disappointing? Because Simeon and our super relatives, we had them 8-4. So they're right on track for us. So who's the real geniuses here? I think it's us right here.
I mean, yes, but also we'll talk about this here. I was expecting to be wrong, so I had switched my expectations to be wrong. I was like, oh, okay, they look good. Okay, they play that BS game versus Navy or whoever it was, week 0 in Ireland, and I'm like, okay, who is it? Sam Howell's that the quarterback right now?
Sam Hartman.
Sam Hartman. It was a white guy named Sam. Okay. Sam Howell's the quarterback for the Commanders. He was at North Carolina last year. Sorry.
Wow,
hey, look at me.
look at you knowing college things.
Googling things because I always forget where this white boy played college. And I'm like, the whitest school that there is, which is North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Go Tar Heels.
Yeah,
okay,
I would say
hold
Notre
up.
Dame's whiter
Pause.
than North Carolina.
Notre Dame's whiter than North Carolina?
Obviously, y'all have never been to Wisconsin.
I thought we were talking in between North Carolina and Notre Dame. Obviously, yes.
Hey,
North Dakota State would take the cake, though.
But is it
Montana, I
does
think,
it
would
give
take the
off
cake.
white vibes? Because those don't
Wisconsin?
give. Those give. See, Farmer
Wisconsin
does
is
not,
just white paint. Yes, of course
yeah.
it gives
but
off
but
white vibe.
farmers do not give off whiteness, if that makes sense.
What about Boston College? That's got to be pretty white.
See, now we're talking about something here.
However, that's the racist white, so I'm
But
not
that's
down
the
with that.
racist
Yeah,
white, so it doesn't count. We need the oh geez, I'm sorry, oops, stepped on your toe there type.
You're
of
literally
Wanna
doing
go
a
to
Wisconsin
Minnesota?
accent.
Wisconsin,
like
Minnesota, like
Minnesota.
that area?
Minnesota is pretty white.
Guys, what about the Dakotas, the Montana, the Idahos?
Those
See,
are the only
Minnesota
population of
Poland's
100
literally in
people.
the middle of nowhere. Maybe go to the
See,
Palouse.
Well, hold up. Now we can talk about Ames. We can talk about Iowa State. Brock, a dude literally named Brock, graduated from Iowa State. There's probably more than one that graduated. Dudes named Brock that graduated. Last name's Purdy. So,
Nebraska.
I mean,
Nebraska. Yeah, well, that's gotta. I mean,
So
yeah, a
we've-
lot of white people, but it doesn't give
Okay.
off white people vibes. That's farm vibes.
Midwest.
The Midwest.
Midwest
Yeah.
as a whole.
What is the most white SEC school?
Vanderbilt.
Ha. Vanderbilt.
well, yeah, actually, he's right. But there's probably a lot of Asians that go there because they have really good engineering programs. So that kind of
You just had
It's either them or Missouri.
yeah, Arkansas.
no,
that's too
Arkansas is like
redneck.
white trash. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too redneck.
Yeah.
I want to say Florida
No, Florida is.
because
Well, Florida's more white
not-
trash than Arkansas.
Not when you Google Florida man. There's no picture of a black guy coming up. And I don't mean to stereotype, but I mean to
Florida
stereotype.
is like the drunk uncle of white trash.
Okay, that's fair. I think Missouri definitely has some semblance of a part to go
I
in
mean,
this
one
race.
of
I
the
don't know.
Mississippi's, right?
Ooh.
But again, redneck.
'cause
Starksville
it's like-
and wherever the F
well,
Mississippi is from.
Oxford.
So
Oxford.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
but there's
I
a
feel
place
like
called Oxford in Mississippi. That's pretty white just given itself.
I feel like when you look at Ole Miss and Mississippi State, one of them is like the racy white and then the nice white.
And we'll leave it up to the public to tell us which one's
You,
which.
you really want us to stop talking about that, don't you?
I'm like,
It's one of them. I don't want to
all
say
right.
which one, but
We're,
let's just
we're,
move on.
we're judging white people here. I mean, at
Yeah,
the end of the day,
it's
we're allowed
fine.
to.
It's fine. Yeah,
Because
for sure.
we're white.
oh,
At the end of the day,
Tennessee.
but again, that's Rocky Top.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
country
Morgan
singers, though.
Wallen.
Yeah, that's racist white, and we don't do that.
Well, Vanderbilt's
no,
in
that's
Nashville.
uneducated white.
Vanderbilt's in Nashville. Basic white girls, Nashville. Vanderbilt. It is decided.
Yeah.
Okay, but then we can make that same argument about Penn State. So what's more white, Penn State or Vanderbilt?
No. Penn State are just a bunch of uncultured, uneducated, like people who went for like a free and
Penn
easy
State
education.
are the homeschoolers of college football.
No, that's not
I
true.
like it.
That can't be true.
Okay, then Micaiah, who are the homeschoolers of college football?
Oh, it's got to be Iowa.
Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, they're nice. They wave to the kids in the hospital. They don't know how to play offense, but they try their best.
That
They're just
kind
awkward.
of sounds like
No.
kids who ride the short bus, and I'm trying to be nice because I'm trying not to get canceled again.
Because the hospital, you cannot be homeschooled and be nice waving at a hospital, and being okay with it.
A hospital, just waving to a hospital just gives off Down syndrome vibes. I don't like it. It's very nice. Iowa, keep waving at kids. It's a great new tradition. It's one of those traditions that seems like it's been a tradition for forever when it hasn't been. But at the same time,
there's no It's got to be a team that doesn't like belong in college football.
San Diego State,
Stanford, Cal,
no,
12 schools.
Words,
Pac-12.
teams,
Yeah,
anyone.
I
They
think
don't belong.
UNLV, San Diego State. Those are my two because they have way too nice of stadiums for how crappy their football team is.
Arizona State.
No, that's party school.
What about Wyoming?
Eh.
You know, they're just happy to be there.
Nah, that's
Layer-
white school.
That's a what school?
White school.
It's super white. Snows all the time. Nothing up there. Hey there.
Temple.
Close to Canada.
Temple is
No,
the homeschooler.
that's-
Temple's never good.
Yeah, but you too many people die on Temple's campuses for it to be homeschool.
What?
So
Oh
that's
my
the,
god.
So that's the battlefield of the
Oh,
NCAA.
so then Virginia's out. That was not cool.
That's a rough one.
We're not coming back from that.
Yeah, that does rule out Virginia Tech too.
What about Indiana? Their head coach is kind of homeschoolish.
Oh,
Tom
that's
Allen?
a good one.
He's just screaming at people, and
But
his
don't
face turns purple.
Is Champaign,
and
Illinois, or Indiana?
Illinois.
Champaign is Illinois.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. We've landed on Indiana, and now that we've sidetracked successfully and said some pretty questionable things that will be going into the public.
Yikes.
You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. We'll be killed by the deep state tomorrow. Don't worry.
I was just scrolling past Virginia. I was just like, well, Virginia's not.
I'm glad
All right,
you said it.
Yeah, well, you know, we all say things we don't mean from time to time. All right, where are we going,
So-
boss?
I don't know. Texas, Kansas State. Since we were talking about possibly a Big
Texas
12
just turns
meeting.
the ball over, you know? Like, it's gonna... It already gave them one loss to Oklahoma. It almost gave them a second to Kansas State. Robert, let's not get into an argument about whether they should have gone for it or not. But
What are you gonna do?
yeah. I mean, they played to win the game and they lost. So maybe just try to tie the game for the first time. But anyway, Texas's schedule moving forward is not that difficult. They do have to go to Ames one time here in 2 weeks, at TCU this weekend, at Iowa State, and then close it off with Texas Tech last Saturday of the season at home. Ewers is now throwing. He's day-to-day. However, there's probably going to be a readjustment period. Remember last year when he went out with the same thing, he came back and was never quite right. So there's definitely some sinkholes along the way. But They are better, especially defensively, than the 3 remaining teams, and they should walk into the Big 12 championship game no problem.
Sorry, that was good. I can't log into my bank.
I didn't know if Robert was going to say anything or not.
He won't, because he can never respond to you and quickly and concisely.
Listen, I didn't know. Listen, hey, my bad. My fault.
Oh, he's taking... That's nice of you. You're taking blame.
Yeah, first time
actually,
ever.
You're normally pretty good about that.
Kind of passing the buck a couple times, so...
How am I passing the buck right now? I'm the only one talking.
So, this USC-Washington, was that quote that you sent in the chat actually something that happened? He wanted to go home and cuddle his dog and paint his nails or whatever he said?
No, that was just something that was on... I forget what... Like
the actual quote is, I want to go home, watch some shows, cuddle my dog, and be alone or something like that. It must suck being a generational collegiate talent and you just play with historically bad defenses.
Yeah, I mean, like, the dude literally goes out and balls out pretty much every single week, throws for almost 300 yards, if not more, almost every single game, multiple touchdowns, makes things happen, and then he's got to do it like 12 times because the defense is just that bad. And I'm surprised it took him this long to kind of get rid of Grinch.
That's what I was hoping it's going to bring up.
But I mean... It's kind of like a too little too late kind of deal. Like, USC's season is essentially done. They can't win the Pac-12 championship. They're not going to be in the playoff. There's no hope in that. Like, now you're just kind of playing, I guess we'll be in a New Year's Six Bowl, maybe, if we can stop anybody.
I don't know that they brought up kind of a good point. They have at Oregon this weekend, and then they finish off the season actually a week early because they played in week 0 at home number 19 UCLA. You make a change this late in the season because the kids just aren't listening. You're not going to change anything schematically or what you do defensively in terms of how you call plays, but the kids just clearly aren't listening. Here's what they gave up. 28 to San Jose State, 14 to Nevada, 10 to Stanford. Okay, great. Now it starts falling off the rails a little bit. 28 to Arizona State, who scored 6 points against Utah. 41 to Colorado, 41 to Arizona, 48 to Notre Dame, 34 to Utah, 49 to Cal, and 52 to Washington. There's a stat I saw that they have given up like 280-some points this season, and Iowa has given up 269 points in 2 years. That's just how bad they are defensively. I never understood the Alex Grinch hire. He was at Ohio State. He made, I guess he got credit for what he did at Ohio State. But now his kind of whatever credit he had in terms of how good he was is just completely gone.
I guess what also is kind of concerning is the fact that
Bless you.
The fact that Washington also gave up as many points as they have. Like Washington has not looked really that good the past 3 weeks. Like, they've kind of struggled.
Yeah, them defensively, 42 to USC, 33 to Stanford. They had that really bad Arizona State game. They held them to 7, but then they gave up 33 to Oregon, 24 to Arizona, 32 to Cal. It's been on a whole season thing. They're so explosive. I think there is something to be said when you just hit big play after big play after big play and you score, your defense does unintentionally just end up fatigued. That's why I think Oregon is better than Washington, even though Washington beat them head-to-head just because I think Oregon is better defensively than Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that Oregon just seems like the better team. You know, even when Oregon struggles, Oregon still manages to put up 40, 50 points. They struggle for a quarter or two, and they don't. I mean, when they struggle, they only give up like 13. But overall, Georgia just looks like more of a complete team.
Yeah,
Oregon.
I mean, at this point, when you have these high-scoring offenses and teams that are so close offensively in scoring, you got to go with whatever team has the better defense, and that's just Oregon right now. And so I'm going to ride with the Ducks, and my wife would be happy with that until the Ducks fail me. But I think that Washington, Oregon, currently on track to make it in Pac-12 championship game. I think it's Oregon by 2 touchdowns at this point.
I think that's fair. Let's talk about this week's games. We got some good ones. Let's wait for the big one till the end. Let's talk about some 2 Pac-12 games, which I think have some possibilities for some fireworks, but also possibility for upsets, which could screw up the Pac-12 getting in. Let's go ahead and start with the current number 5, ranked 5th, Washington Huskies, taking on I think they're 14th ranked Utah Utes. I don't know.
We're filming this so everyone knows on a Tuesday. The rankings will actually be out. It is 6 o'clock now. The rankings will be out in 2 hours, right? So these rankings that we give you may change by the time you listen to it on Friday, but it'll be close enough-ish. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, Utah at Washington again. Washington's offense is not scaring anyone, and Utah's defense puts a little fear into you. I really would have liked to see what Utah would have been with a full season of Cam Rising. He's not even going to play this year. They've gone with Bryson Barnes, officially now kind of full-time. Here's their last 5 games. Arizona State 55-3. Then they got blown out and obliterated at home by Oregon 35-6. They gave up 34 to Cal. They gave up 14 to Cal, 32 to USC, and 7 to Oregon State. This is not going to be a high-scoring affair, and Washington better figure out how to run the ball like they did Saturday night against USC with Dylan Johnson, because if they don't, it's going to be a long day for Michael Penix, because that front 4 for Utah is monsterly good, and they are going to put pressure on them, and Washington's offensive line is not awesome at pass blocking. I mean, they do just enough, and it's the scheme mostly, but Washington, they're going to have to, that offensive line, it's going to be a fun battle to watch between the offensive and defensive line on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't really see this being like how Oregon played Utah, where Oregon just outmatched Utah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to look at more of how when Washington played Arizona, where Arizona they just played Washington tough. They did what they needed to do. Washington struggled. Arizona just played Arizona football, and Washington won 31-24. That's kind of the range that I'm going to anticipate this game to be. Not so much big high-scoring game, but it's going to be like your mid-tier game. I still think Washington comes out on top with this. I just don't think Utah's offense has anything to give other than the occasional like one-off big play.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think Washington just gets it because you can only do so much with defense. I think it's going to be kind of a lower scoring game, maybe like a 28, 25 type of game. Here's the thing. Washington, going back to the Arizona game, won that by 7. Then they beat Oregon by 3. Then they beat Arizona State needed a pick 6 late fourth quarter, 15-7. That was an 8-point game. Stanford, they really won that game like 35-33 because they got a pick 6 late. And then they beat USC in a 10-point game that was a one-score game beginning of the fourth quarter, and they were actually down. How many times can you play quality opponents in one-score games and get up off the mat? I think a trip up sinkhole for Washington is coming at some point. I don't know if it's Saturday. However, next week in Corvallis against the Beavers and the Chainsaw, that's that's a toughin'. And then they got the Apple Cup to finish the year on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So Bryson Barnes, again, doesn't scare me. That running, nothing scares me offensively. If you're sound, defensively, Washington's defense is a little better than USC's. But I think that Washington gets it done.
Good enough for me. Let's go over to what's the bigger upset chance? Well, you already answered that. So if I'm Oregon, I have a shot, possibly, of getting to the playoffs. But I have to get through USC first. Likelihood of me getting through USC. New defensive coordinator this week. I don't know. Does anybody know who's calling the plays?
No.
Doesn't matter.
Maybe. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in the locker room. That's why I'm asking. Maybe he's a really good orator. I don't know. So, is how tough of a challenge, given the question, doesn't matter, how tough of a challenge is this going to be for Oregon?
I think really tough. USC has a history of walking into Autzen Stadium and ruining college football playoff hopes for Oregon. They did it when Lincoln Riley was the coach, and it was Chip Kelly. They did it a few years ago. It's just a rivalry where no one's going to be USC is probably going to be unranked tonight when the rankings come out. They're 20 right now, but they're going to drop out. Oregon looks complete, but Caleb Williams is awesome. Lincoln Riley's a good offensive play caller. Over under 73. I think that's a little high because I do think Oregon's defense is really good, or at least better than Washington's. So it's going to be entertaining, and Oregon is playing for their championship aspirations week in, week out since that loss to Washington.
Yeah, this game it's going to be, can USC's defense stop Oregon one, maybe two more times than they actually need to keep USC in the game? And can USC methodically just beat Oregon's defense? Because this is either going to be a replay of Washington USC, or this is going to be a Utah Oregon. Because is Caleb Williams that distraught that he's taking himself out of the game now, where he's just mentally listen, I just want to get out of here now. I just want to go to the NFL, get my stuff and leave. You put a new defensive coordinator in there, the players still have to show up. They still have to tackle. You can teach someone to tackle as many times as you want. They still got to do it. They still got to cover. I have a hard time seeing Oregon not winning by more than 2 touchdowns.
I think also Oregon does a really good job of getting specifically Bucky Irving, their running back, in space. And what USC right now lacks defensively, the two glaring issues are speed in space and tackling in space more specifically, and then effort running to the football. of speed in space to be able to help tackle in space. Will the new defensive voice in the room get more out of them? Yeah, I think for a half. But at some point, Caleb Williams is going to run out of gas. Oregon's going to get 1 or 2 stops, and their defense come second half, no matter how good the voice is and how good they're playing first half, are just going to lose speed. And Bucky Irving is going to make someone miss, and Bo Nix is going to hit up with, I think his name's Troy Franklin on the outside, and it's going to be a 14-point deficit, and then you're playing from behind, and Lincoln Riley's offense isn't built to do that against a good defense from behind.
I'm just trying to find out if we know who the play caller is for them. But let's go.
So we were both taking Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's fair. Let's go ahead and move over to the big game. Big noon kickoff on Fox. I think this is going to be a game that's won in the trenches. It's Michigan at Penn State. Obviously, as Michigan fans, I think we all want Michigan to win. Do we think Michigan... Do we think Penn State's going to pose a problem for Michigan?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is the first time they're going to play a team that's not. I don't want to call them pushovers, but like they're not at the same caliber as what Penn State is. Penn State's defense is still really good. They have a really good defensive line. Their cover's been shaky. Like Ohio State kind of picked them apart throwing the ball. Ohio State couldn't run the ball. Michigan, we can't run the ball really that much on anyone consistently. So Michigan's going to have to live and die by either the outside runs or kind of what they did against Purdue was just getting the ball to the outside, a little trickery here and there, but just a lot of play action. Like you have to make them want to try and load the box, stop the run, and then just get our guys out in space. But offensively for Penn State still hasn't really run the ball. They get like one deep shot a game. I mean, their offense doesn't look great. Drew Aller kind of looks.
They kind of remind me of 2021 Michigan and before. Like take out the 2020 season, 2021 Michigan with that year with Cade where it was really Hassan Haskins.
Yeah, and
then. Before, but specifically 2021 because Aller just isn't turning the ball over and he's making things happen, but it's not going downfield. There's not a lot of deep shots happening. However, Maryland, whether you think they're a good team or not, Penn State's offense woke up, or it was at least efficient enough to drop 51. I understand Maryland was going for it late on their own end, turning the ball over because Penn State's defense is good, so it was short field, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the point you made, Robert, of this is Michigan's first real test, it's just gonna beat them down enough. Like, how do they respond with everything going on with the allegations? Will Harbaugh even be on the sideline Saturday? That's a big question mark. If he's not on the sideline, who makes the crucial game time calls? Because every time Michigan goes into Happy Valley, regardless of time, it's a one-score game late into the second half. So I think Penn State's going to muck it up. I think Penn State's got a great chance to win this football game. And we're going to find out just how good Michigan is. If Michigan goes in and routs them by 21, hey, guess what? Michigan better be 1 or 2 in the next college football playoff poll because that's what they've been doing all year in a tough environment in Happy Valley. But I don't think that's the case. I think James Franklin has the perfect shot to get the big game Franklin monkey off of his back and get a big-time win over the cheaters.
So, before I have you guys make your picks, Sean Nua Michigan's ex-defensive line coach 2019 to 2021, and Brian Odom, an ex-running back turned inside linebacker coach for Missouri and also from OU. He came from OU. Will be the co-defensive coordinators, and they'll be splitting up play calling duties as well for USC. So the people most known for tackling, the linebackers in the defensive line, they're going to be in charge. I think this is a great example for Michigan to show that its line didn't lose anything from last year. I think this game is going to be won up front again. I think it's going to be a battle in the trenches. I think JJ is going to throw the ball when he needs to. We'll see how good Penn State's secondary is. I don't know how well they're going to perform, but JJ has been extremely efficient with the football. He just needs to continue to be. Again, the question really for me is, can Manny Diaz's defense hold up against Michigan's offense? Because if it can hold Michigan to 14 points or 21 points, then we have a different conversation. We're going to be having a different conversation. I don't think it's going to, though. Penn State's offense has been anemic at best, so I'm picking Michigan to win. We'll follow up with them in a little bit. Did you guys pick who you're taking?
It's part of my pick section. So I'll give it there. What's the better chance of happening? That Michigan walks in there absolutely pissed off at the world, whether Harbaugh's there or not, and they just give it to Penn State. Or, what's the better chance of happening? Or Penn State exposes Michigan. The signs stealings mattered a lot. Exposes that, and Penn State wins by 14 or more.
The first. If the sign stealing mattered, Purdue would have actually had a chance last week.
If you would have said like 10 or less, I would say the second one. I think beating Michigan by 14, that'd be tough even if they weren't selling signs, because Michigan still is, without signs, a very talented team, a very good team. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes, and they're very methodical. So probably Michigan.
Only when trying to hide sign stealing is when they make mistakes.
But if the turnover bug bites JJ, right? He throws a pick six, he fumbles the football, gets sacked, whatever. They very good defensive front seven for Penn State. Fumbles, pick six. That's 14 points. And then Penn State turns around. Very good off of turnovers this year. So all I'm saying is, Michigan, you better show up with your A game.
All righty.
Do we want? We don't want to do Georgia Ole Miss.
Not really, because we're at an hour.
All right. Well, that's fine.
I had more fun. It's gonna be Georgia. It's been Georgia since week 0. It's gonna be Georgia. Hey guys, Georgia's gonna win because they actually have a multi-dimensional football team.
I just wanted to make sure Robert didn't feel left out. I just want to make sure Robert didn't feel left out because we did none of his picks.
Lane Kiffin can't win the big game.
You're the one who wanted to talk about the game, bro. You're the one who wanted to talk about it.
Because I was told at 3 o'clock I had to pick 2 more games.
Dude, those were one of your original 3. Don't even give me this. 2 o'clock.
Yeah, and then it was, but we need to make sure we talk about how they're going to win. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know? Georgia's going to show up and play defense.
Well, blame him. Don't blame me. Blame him.
That's actually exactly what I was looking for, basically. I don't need anything, fancy. I don't need you breaking down film over here in all 22. I don't need you going all scallions on me. Oh, my
Kirby's
Lord.
stealing side.
Kirby stealing signs. Guys, do we all have Michigans in our picks?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. All right, great. Let's roll with it.
We're going to start with them. I'm taking Michigan minus 5.5. I can also get them on FanDuel. Please sponsor us at plus 5. Plus 0.5. Oh, I'm getting them plus 6 points. So I'm actually having them lose. That's not going to be good. So anyway, I'm not actually having them lose, but I'm getting them minus 5.5 points. This game's going to be a touchdown. It's not going to be a field goal type game. We're not going to see kickers besides kickoffs and punts. It's the only reason we're going to see kickers is Duke does something to Mekhi's feet.
Everyone,
Kaya,
don't listen to Simeon. He's always wrong. So.
Don't. We don't care about your foot fetish, okay? Listen, it's what is okay. So Michigan minus 5.5. I think this is going to be a touchdown either way. I think this is going to be like Tulane, North Texas, a 35-28 type of game.
Wow,
so,
high scoring for two good defenses. All right.
I didn't say that's going to be the final score. I said that's the type of game where it's going to be all touchdowns, no kicking. So, I don't know.
Who's going next?
I think since Robert's been the one bringing energy until he can dethrone one of us so one of us can dethrone him, I think he gets to go last.
Wow.
So
what am I? Does anyone listen to the pick section last week? I get fired up. Listen here. Michigan's walking into Happy Valley just absolutely pissed off. Jim Harbaugh may or may not be there. We don't know. J.J. McCarthy, if he isn't there, he's going to play like, oh boy, the villain he is. Ric Flair was in the locker room last week. Woo! There you go. He might be in the locker room this week. Who knows? Michigan wants to prove everyone wrong that signs had nothing to do with it. Scallions was doing this by himself. Harbaugh knew nothing. You have no proof. Michigan is going to walk into Happy Valley and get beat by Penn State, plus the 5.5.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I mean,
here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
Sorry, Robert. I'm stumbling over
you're
you.
good, because you know why? Because it's that time of the year again. Michigan plays big games. What do I do when Michigan plays big games? I choose the other team.
That's right.
Yes, Penn State plus 5.5.
Let's go.
Because in my books, if Penn State wins by more than 5, even comes within 5.5 points, I win. If Michigan wins,
That's how that works.
I win. So hey, it's a win-win for this guy. But I think Penn State gets the better of Michigan actually, and which is really unfortunate to say, but I think that this is where everything, like all the distractions, outside noise, everything, I think this is the game that kind of gets to Michigan. I don't think they're going to lose by like 10. I think it'll be a one score missed field goal, 3-point kind of loss to them.
Yeah,
But
the
Penn
field
State
goal,
might-
our field goal kicker hasn't bit us in the butt yet. Perfect time in Happy Valley, cold,
Yeah.
probably going to be raining to bite us in the butt. I'm also
begin-
taking Penn State outright. I'm picking Penn State to win the football game.
Oh, you can
Yeah.
go just right off and fuck yourself. Honestly.
Penn State.
Who do you think you are right now?
Michigan.
Who do you
Who
think
else am I
you
supposed
are?
to do? Penn State has played in a big game already this year. Michigan has not. Michigan may or may not have Harbaugh. Like, what do you want?
I want you to actually be a fan, and for once in your GD life, stick up for your team. Listen, you can be pessimistic all you want, but when it comes to two teams, you actually have to stick. Be pessimistic next week, when according to you, they're going to be a one-loss team walking into Maryland.
One lost team walking into Maryland, dangerous place to be.
You do not get to say against Penn State, I am walking into the mouth of Penn State in Central PA, which is my in-laws' house. I invited all Penn State people over because I like them, and I am going to watch in revelry with delight as I watch them get absolutely curb stomped by J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum and some skinny, fast dude catching balls off of a dude's helmet in Happy Valley. That's what's going to happen. So, GTFO of your own podcast. I'm taking Colorado plus 10.5 because I'm tired of the GD disrespect in this establishment. It's Arizona, guys! I get it. Colorado isn't as good as anyone thought they were. But 10.5? You're out of your gourd if you do not think Colorado can't cover 10.5. I'm making you money out here. Makai is being disrespectful. Robert's the only sane one, and he doesn't have a soul.
He also took Penn State to win the football game.
No, he took Penn State plus 5.5 because he's a normal person.
Robert, who are you taking to win the football game?
I said Penn State.
Yes.
You can go fuck yourself too.
Listen, because I
Go
have
right back to your
I
mother
have
and
to.
re-enter her. You're
I have
dumb.
to say that.
You're a baby.
Check me in 3
It's
weeks.
Ohio
Ohio
State.
Yeah, check me in 3 weeks because you're gonna say the same thing. You're gonna be like, "What's gonna happen?" I'm gonna say, "Well, Michigan's gonna keep it close. It's gonna be a nice close
They're
game."
going undefeated. They're going to meet Georgia in the national championship, and they're going to say, "How do you like them apples?" That's what's going to happen this year, baby.
We have fallen well off the cliff, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. All right. Well, I'm gonna go. Here's the deal. I have Ole Miss ranked 9 in my rankings. They are, I believe, 10 right now. They'll probably move up to 9 or enter the top 10 with the loss of Oklahoma. They are fake. They run the football. That's pretty much it. When they can't run, they struggle. Jackson Dart is a good runner, capable thrower, but when their running game isn't working, it is not good. They played Alabama at home and got curb stomped. Georgia's a much better team than Alabama, and Georgia's at home between the hedges in Athens. Georgia was supposed to be challenged by Missouri, and they were to an extent, but there's just no panic in the Bulldogs. Guess what? Kirby and Carson, without the boy from California, are doing just fine. And Ole Miss is fake. Ole Miss is fragile. Lane Kiffin always looks like he's got a little bit of a buzz on, so figure that out, however you want to interpret that.
He really
Give me
does.
Georgia minus the 10.5, close in first half, and then just a rout in the second half.
That's a really good pick.
Thank you.
I have to give you. You didn't need to get us hyped for that. Like it's just Georgia versus Ole Miss.
You can't energy.
Listen,
I'm boring.
listen,
then when I bring the
no,
energy,
no, listen. I am shooketh. I am upset at you two. I should cut you off and finish this podcast myself. You guys don't even deserve to be here.
Everyone, look at my panel right now. Everyone, look at my panel. This is an impression of Simeon right now. Robert, who you got?
Hey, over under time.
Let's go.
And the best part is, I was going to use it on a Thursday night game. Guess what? Those games are bad. I'm talking bad. So, Friday night, 9 p.m., North Texas SMU. Over under 65.5. I was like, are you insane? Insane! Over 67.5.
You're taking
Shootout!
over?
Shootout! Bang, bang! That's what we're talking about.
Oh, wait, this is North Texas SMU.
Yes.
Never mind. Yeah, that's a good pick. Of all the over-unders, I thought you were talking about Texas State or the Bobcats or whatever. Also, Makai, you're doing a much better job. I will give you praise.
I've been bringing this energy for like 3 weeks. It's
Thanks,
not my
thanks,
fault
thanks.
you don't pay attention.
No, you haven't, but that's okay. James Madison is taking on Connecticut. Connecticut somehow forgot that they played a football when they went into Rocky Top last week and got absolutely shellacked by Tennessee. James Madison, not known as a high-scoring football team. They're known as an efficient football team. Much like another team that has M in their name, who somebody doesn't believe in. Anyway, James Madison minus 25.5. They're going to win this game by 26. That's how much they're going to win this game by. Exactly 26. This is not going to be close. I just think Connecticut sucks more than they did. Guys, you fell so far. You were in a bowl game after not being in a bowl game. What the heck? I'm taking James Madison minus 26.5 against minus 25.5. And they're going to win by 26.
Listen, Simeon, if you always pick your team to lose, you can never be disappointed. Okay? That's just how it
but
rolls.
I like having fun in life.
Yeah, so will I.
And
I'll
you
scream
can't
at the
be
TV.
as
I'm going to scream at the TV for 3.5 hours on Sunday. I've already warned the wife. I've already warned the dog. I got the treats stocked up. I'm ready to scream and be a fan on Saturday. But my brain tells me this is new territory for Michigan this season, let alone program-wise with everything going on in terms of signs. So, what do you want? Okay, here we go. Final pick. It's in Austin Stadium.
Oh.
Not Austin. I know I said it wrong. Autzen Stadium. It's Utah. It's Oregon. It's a big-time matchup. Oregon has been playing championship-level football ever since they lost to Washington a few weeks ago. They lose, they're out of the college football playoff. Guess what? They got one conference loss. A second would tie them with said Utah for the second spot behind the Huskies. Utah's defense is good. Oregon, at home, when challenged, tends to give up some points. I expect Bryson Barnes to make enough plays to keep it close. I don't expect Utah to win, but I do expect the defensive line of the Utes to keep it within 9.5. Give me Utah plus the 9.5.
Robert?
You had me so confused because you said
Is it
Autzen.
Is it not Utah, Oregon? Did I say
No,
that? Oh my God, it's Utah, Washington.
Dude, you had me so
Oh
confused
my God.
because I took the USC Oregon game and I was like, oh, I guess I got to figure something out. And then you started saying Utah, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
hold up
no,
now.
I got
now
the
I'm
wrong.
even
All right.
way off.
Wow, yeah, I got it way wrong. I
You
also
were
took,
winning.
I also took Utah plus the points at Oregon. It bit me in the butt. So I'm going to change my reasoning here just real quick. Washington doesn't have a defense. Washington has no defense. It's going to be easy for Bryson Barnes to score. Washington's offense scores just one too many times on the Utes, but that Utah defense in front four, keep it close. Utah plus the 9.5. Sorry about that.
Last pick.
Yeah, here we go.
When I looked at this game, it had it at plus 15.5.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's, just wow. Because who would expect that? USC at Oregon. I know Oregon's going to win this game, but I got a hard time saying that they're a 15.5 point favorite at this point. USC is still going to score this. He's still going to flick that bean, bud. He is going to score. There is no doubt about it. It's going to be close. Okay, it might be 14 they might win by, but it's not going to be 15.5. USC plus 15.5. Check the box. 10:30 p.m. Why they decide to put that game that late, beyond me. But, hey, everybody wants to watch Arizona State and UCLA at 9 p.m. Or they want to watch Rice UTSA at 7:30. Or, hey, why not just watch Michigan State, Ohio State, that barn burner at 7:30? Good one.
I really like that pick, bro. I really like USC. I just think new energy defensively is going to keep it close. Absolutely. I love that pick.
Before these traders say anything more traitorish, we're getting out of here, guys. It's been the 4th and 1. I'm sorry for your ears for these traders. We'll see you guys next week.
Wash your hands, you filthy animals.
Might help if I